what happened to the cannibal who was late for dinner?
Oh, a cannibal joke? What?
They gave her the cold shoulder.
Oh, that's terrible. And
Oh, it's awesome.
it is really awesome, but it's terrible too. And this is the one that Ike laughed about.
Hungry Squared, bringing you the best food talk anywhere.
Welcome to the Hungry Squared podcast where the brain and belly meet. I'm Sharon from the Wasatch Cooking Guide.
And I'm Winter from the Chef versus Baker. This week, we're actually having a little Thanksgiving around the world mini episode.
Come travel with us, won't you?
Let's talk about it.
Hungry Squared, yeah, Hungry Squared.
Oh, hello, Sharon.
Hey, Winter.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. I'm excited for Thanksgiving.
Are you? What are you doing?
We're making Thanksgiving dinner here.
What kind of food are you making?
We are, I'm going to say we're smoking a turkey on the big green egg just because I want to try it. Yeah. Lee's going to try it, but I want to try it, so he has to do it. And that's his toy. But we're probably going to do a surf and turf with my family. Because, right,
so
why not?
The turkey is the turf, right?
No, I think we're still have steaks that have been sous vide.
So you're going to have a lot of meat, is what you're saying.
Yeah, and there'll be fixings.
Meat and some fixings for dessert.
Fixins. Mm-hmm.
Some vittles.
Some stovetop stuffing. Oh, Sharon, don't give me that look.
I like stovetop just as much as the next person, but I really like homemade stuffing, homemade dressing.
Dry or wet?
Well, there's a moisture balance to be had that you can attain. I mean,
can you?
Yes, you can. I like a cornbread dressing with a little bit of French bread mixed in there.
Interesting.
That's my preferred.
Is that so? It's not too moist and not too dry, is what you're telling me.
Right. There's a perfect balance, and it is achievable.
Mm-hmm.
So
I've had plenty of dry stuffing before.
Mm-hmm. So you like it wet?
I like it a little wetter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Stovetop is a little on the wet side.
Yeah, it is. It is.
And the best, and actually I don't know if you know her or not, but the best stuffing I've ever had in my entire life. And that's saying a lot. Because we grew up on stovetop, and that's our jam. Leslie, my roommate, her mother made this oyster stuffing.
Oh, I've heard the oyster stuffing's fantastic.
Oh,
I've not had oyster stuffing.
It is fantastic. Like, I tried making it once, and it didn't quite work out as well as I'd hoped it, but because she had the touch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So most homemade stuffings that I've had have been very good and much better than stovetop.
What?
I really like stovetop. I'll give you that. But for Thanksgiving, I want something special. And stovetop isn't special.
No, man, it's special.
No.
We never eat it any other time. We never buy it from the store at any other time.
You should. Make it not special, Winter.
No, it's special.
Expand your horizons.
It's special. That's what I grew up on. People, come on.
No.
Yeah. Okay, so we're talking about, this is just a little mini episode because let's be honest, people, we're busy. You're busy.
We're Thanksgiving-ing here.
Yeah. We've talked about turkeys and pumpkin pie and stuff in the past, right?
Mm-hmm.
And cranberries and pretty much covered the gamut of Thanksgiving.
Right.
So why not talk about Thanksgiving in other parts of the world? Because I didn't know that was a thing besides in Canada.
Right.
So, Sharon.
Let's expand our horizons.
Canada?
I
really don't.
Oh, Canada. They've given us plenty of great things.
They have.
Like my favorite with a U. My favorite chips.
Oh, yes.
The Ruffles all-dressed chips.
Those are pretty good. I was going to say the Bare Naked Ladies.
Yes. Sarah McLachlan. Lots of Canadian music.
Great Canadian music.
Hockey. Poutine.
Poutine is dang good.
I mean, lots of great things. Lots of great things. Socialism. I'm just kidding. We could go on.
We really could.
So they have Thanksgiving. Did you know that?
I did know that because I have a number of Canadian friends that all of a sudden it pops up on the day that I never can remember.
It's in October.
It's in October. What day? Is it a specific day?
Yes, it is always the second Monday in October.
Okay.
Like ours is, so American Thanksgiving is always the fourth Thursday in November.
True confession time, real quick. Sorry, Ted.
Did you not know?
And I bought tickets to go see my sister in Iowa on a week that I thought was Thanksgiving, but it was the following week. So I went out for not Thanksgiving.
You went out for a visit.
Yeah. We had a not Thanksgiving dinner while I was there.
When did
and
you
they
figure
made fun
out
of
that
me?
it was not going to be on Thanksgiving?
Well, I was really surprised at how cheap it was. And I was like, oh my goodness, I'm so lucky. Can't believe it. I really couldn't believe it.
You scored for that holiday travel.
Yeah. And those guys made fun of me, but they made dinner for us. So it was great. Okay. Side note. Okay. Go ahead.
So Canadian Thanksgiving is always the second Monday in October. It's kind of like the perfect fall kickoff.
Oh.
Fall starts in September. So fun fact, a common tradition for Canadian families is to get outside on Thanksgiving. Since it's on a Monday, they don't really gluttonize themselves like we do here
Gorge
in America.
themselves.
Yeah. They don't really overload on food and things like that. But they do feast. There is a feast. But they get outside and a lot of people go leafing at that time. That's like their family tradition. They'll go hiking or they'll go and look at the leaves.
Is leafing the term of like going and just looking at the leaves? Or is it like
I've
jump
heard
in leaves and I'm going to...
Oh, I've heard leafing is like, driving around or hiking around and looking at the colors, the fall colors. I've also heard leaf peeping.
That sounds not great.
Yeah, that sounds creepy.
Yeah.
So I like the term leafing.
Okay.
So they do that. So the history of Thanksgiving, though, a lot of people will argue that Canadians started doing Thanksgiving before the American Pilgrims did.
Really?
Yeah, because they argue that it was decades before the Americans did in 1578. So that's more than 40 years before the first American Pilgrims arrived on the scene.
Interesting.
And that would be because English explorer Martin Frobisher held the first Thanksgiving celebration by a European in North America in the area known as Newfoundland.
Oh, okay.
And he and his crew were actually giving thanks for their safe return from a treacherous exploration of the Northwest Passage. They hit a lot of storms, a lot of ice storms. It was very cold and icy, and some of the ships got separated and things like that. But they came back together and had a day where they offered thanks and feasted.
That's cool.
Together.
So he actually had an entire fleet of boats, ships? So
there was a few.
Okay, so it just wasn't him. Okay.
Right.
Cool. Okay. That would be quite a reason for Thanksgiving, I think, because it's tough when you're out there by yourself, right?
Right. So a lot of people who are mostly American, of course, have argued that Frobisher's Thanksgiving doesn't count as the first Thanksgiving because a proper Thanksgiving is usually held in gratitude for a good harvest, not just for surviving dangerous icy waters. But really, you can just say...
You can give thanks for a lot of things, people.
You can. Also, probably the indigenous people of North America were the first ones to have Thanksgiving here in America because I'm sure that they were always grateful for their harvest.
Yes.
So, just saying.
If we're going to get technical about things, people.
Right. It wasn't the white man that did it first. I'm just saying. Thanksgiving in Canada was celebrated sporadically in the 17th and 18th centuries, but became more of a regular thing in the 19th century. And then it was finally formalized as a national holiday in 1879.
Oh, that's quite early.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And something cool about it, so it kind of revolved. It's still in October. Sometimes it would get pushed into November, like the early part of November, but it was usually around the second or third week of October. It was finally a solid second week of October, the second Monday in October. It's in the 1900s sometime. Okay, so on January 31st in 1957, the Governor General of Canada
Governor General. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't
So
know what
he's
that
in
role is,
Ottawa.
but okay.
His name was Vincent Massey. He issued a proclamation stating, "A day of general thanksgiving to Almighty God for the bountiful harvest with which Canada has been blessed, to be observed on the second Monday in October."
He did it.
Yeah.
Good work.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
But they have reasons. Canadians sometimes have reasons for Thanksgiving. Historically, depending on the year, there was like the main reason that they were giving thanks that year.
There's a theme
Yeah, they had a theme.
for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Not just like, hey, thanks for everything. You could count your blessings in your own life, but they actually come up with themes.
Right. So
Like what?
my favorite theme was the theme of 1833, which was the cessation of cholera.
You know what? I would be super thankful for that too. I am thankful for that. I can get on board with that.
I don't know what those decorations would look like.
Super cool though. I'd be all about that.
You know, cholera decorations.
Yeah. Okay. I can get behind that.
In 1814, their official reason was the end of sanguinary contest in Europe. I had to look up that word. I'm not going to lie. The definition of sanguinary, which I could be pronouncing that wrong.
No, I think you are pronouncing it correctly.
Is involving or causing much bloodshed.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Pretty cool. The stuff that they eat is pretty much the same as Americans.
It is? Really?
Yeah, they're eating turkey or ham. Sometimes they'll do chicken or a different protein. And then a lot of the traditional stuffing, sweet potatoes, corn, gravy, fall vegetables as the sides.
Pretty typical just because that's what you got at that time of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And their standard desserts are pumpkin pie.
Yes.
So Canadians are just like us Americans, right? They're just kicking it off in October.
They're doing it before us, people.
They are, so every once in a while, people will joke that, we should move to Canada. Ike jokes about that sometimes.
Yeah.
Just as a joke.
Just because.
Read the news. It's cool. So, but I think he would hate this about Canada because they start putting their Christmas decorations up the day after Halloween.
When do they celebrate Halloween the same time we do? I'm sorry. I'm like,
yes,
I need
Canadian Halloween is also on October 31st.
I just wanted to clarify just in case. Okay, so they really do just bust out into
November 1, boom, Christmas music, wreaths, decorating the tree.
It's a frozen tundra up there. You might as well.
It is. Crazy though, huh?
Yeah, that is. There'd be some people
so it's
very
an
upset.
Entire extra month of Christmas, which I think I would hate. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
It can be a bit much.
Yeah. So there's that.
Okay.
They also do football on Thanksgiving Day, although it is Canadian football. So that may or may not be disappointing to you. I don't know.
I don't know much about Canadian football.
And it's not as big of a deal in the province of Quebec. So the French term for Canadian Thanksgiving, and I'm saying it with my American accent because I don't know French and I can't really imitate a French accent, is Action de Grace. Grace.
Okay.
Which is kind of cool because it looks like, if you're just reading it, it looks like grace in action. So that kind of seems like a cool concept to me. I like that. But they're a little bit more lax about it. It's not as...
You don't get a day off. They're like...
Well, most provinces do get the day off. It is an official holiday unless you're in... There is a term that they use for it. Basically, it's like an optional holiday if you're in Atlantic Canada. So that would include like Prince Edward Island, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, Newfoundland, Labrador. There, it's an optional holiday. So some businesses might give employees the day off, but others wouldn't. But the government is still taking that day.
Gotcha.
So they do have a term for that, but I can't find that here in my notes. Sorry.
It's all good.
Oh, a statutory holiday.
A statutory holiday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
So Canada, Thanksgiving. It's very exciting.
It's very exciting.
And I liked this one guy's tweet from this year. He said, yes, we do have Thanksgiving in Canada, but it doesn't look like this. And it was a We'll put a link in the show notes if you want to see it. But it's all these people gathered around a table in an apartment with a live bear. They're all wearing plaid. I don't know.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good job.
Good job, Canada.
Yeah, I know. I was like, gotta have a sense of humor about things, right?
Yeah. So yeah, I imagine that they probably break out some poutine too. I mean, I would like turkey poutine.
Oh, dude, turkey poutine. That's
the day of gravy. Why not?
It's the day you should have poutine. You should always have poutine, right?
Yeah. So you got potatoes and gravy, some cheese. Good to go.
Good to go. Good to go. You know, I was a little surprised when I was doing my research about places that celebrate Thanksgiving. I actually was thinking it was just the United States and Canada, but it is not. There's a lot of places. I was really very surprised because, yeah, everybody has kind of their own little version of it. So Germany actually has one. It's more of a religious holiday where they take the first Sunday of October to celebrate Erntedankfest. Did you get that? Was that awesome? I don't think it was that great. It's basically, like you said, it's a harvest festival. That's one of the reasons why the Americans, celebrated at the time, the Pilgrims rather. And so it's just a festival to give thanks. So that's definitely one of the things. One of the things that I did really like is that there may be some sort of parade or procession where people will wear an Erntekrone, a harvest crown, and it's made of like flowers and fruit and grains and stuff like that.
Oh, I want to wear that.
I know. It sounds like pretty cool. And then of course they do have birds are the thing that they usually eat during this festival. So they'll have chickens and hens and castrated roosters is one. Yeah, I know.
Right.
It's like
put them out of its misery.
Okay. Geese, definitely part of the feast during that particular festival. And so that was Germany. That was just a general Thanksgiving type of a holiday. I super loved reading about the West Indian island of Grenada.
Okay.
And if you don't know where Grenada is, it's basically in the Eastern Caribbean. It's like part of the Eastern Caribbean island.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually have, they kind of share Thanksgiving with America because of the fact that it's held on October 25th every single year. And it's due to the fact it's kind of the anniversary of the U.S. military invasion in 1983 that restored order after there was a communist leader. His name was Maurice Bishop, and it was just chaos and stuff. So the U.S. military came in to help bring things back into...
Celebrate the coup.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, of course, there were American soldiers who were stationed on the island in that country the following month. So it was in October and then the following month. And people were asking him like, hey, Thanksgiving holiday. They would tell people about the Thanksgiving holiday, the U.S. troops. And it, like, you give thanks. And they were telling about the locals about this. And the people of Grenada were so grateful that they were freed in a sense, right?
Yeah.
So they surprised the soldiers with basic Thanksgiving meals with the turkey and the fixings and stuff like that. I really like that. Like the fact that this was their way of saying thanks. And now it's kind of a day of remembrance because that was the day that they got out from under that communist leader. Well, he died, but they were freed in a sense, right? So I thought that was kind of cool. So that one's another one where they pretty much eat what we eat because that's what happens there. I did not know. This one was a little funny to me. So Japan, they have something kind of like Thanksgiving.
Japan does.
Okay. It's every November 23rd, and it's same thing. It's derived from harvest festivals, that type of thing. But there's also kind of a modern meaning that's tied to it, but it's a celebration of hard work and the community, like being all together. So basically, I just want to say that it's kind of like a Labor Day and a Thanksgiving Day in one.
Oh,
I know.
They celebrate their efforts and their hard work.
Their efforts. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. And so,
I'm done with that.
This one doesn't really necessarily have any particular food, but I'm sure there's food involved. A lot of these festivities are, gifts to police officers and that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was interesting. I was like, it's a Labor Day Thanksgiving, so thank your policeman. And then I really like is Norfolk Island. If you don't know where that's at, I had to look it up myself. It sits between Australia and New Zealand. And once again, the U.S. had an influence on this because it was the whalers. There was basically a trader, Isaac Robinson. He proposed decorating the All Saints Church with palm leaves and lemons, hoping to attract whalers to a Thanksgiving service celebration type of a thing. And it worked. People came, and it's kind of been going from there. And then he died that year, so he didn't see it go on, but it ended up being a tradition. So I think that's kind of cool that people come, they bring fruit, they bring veggies to the church to celebrate. They decorate it with stalks of grain and that type of thing. I think that's just kind of cool. A lot of times they'll sell off any of the stuff that was brought to the church and use it for donations to the church, which is cool, I think.
Yeah. It's kind of charitable and offering things.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah. That's what it's all about, right? And then the last one that I thought was fascinating was Liberia. Do you know anything at all about Liberia, the country of Liberia?
They're in Africa, right?
They're in Africa. Yes. It's a West African nation of Liberia. It was actually founded in the 19th century by freed slaves from the U.S.
Sweet.
Yeah. Totally didn't, I have no idea.
Is that where they got their name from?
Yeah, I think so.
Liberation? Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think so. Now, this one's a little bit different, but they still it's kind of this harvest. Yeah, it's basically based around the harvest as well. This is mostly celebrated by Christians, and they take, the cornucopia, and they fill this with every type of local fruit that's available. So like mangoes and papayas and pineapples and bananas. And then they bring it to their churches and everything. And then after the service and after the service, they do an auction and auction off the cornucopias of these fruits and stuff. And then they go home for different types of feasts. And so that's
awesome.
I know. And it's once again rooted in American Thanksgiving, just because, those folks were freed in the 19th century. And even though everybody's like, Canada's going to claim they were the first, there's still a lot of influence on, America has a lot of influence, I think, on a lot of different people's Thanksgiving celebrations.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I guess Germany and Japan have kind of their own little take on it, but
they do.
But these other places, I kind of like the little ties that we helped them out with. I don't know.
Cool.
Yeah. And food is definitely part of it all, but it's usually local stuff.
I like that it's local stuff.
I know.
mean, it's your individual harvest.
Yeah.
That's what you know, what's available to you, what's in season.
And what you're celebrating. Like, this is what we've got. So Thanksgiving, I think it's going to be good fun. We love Thanksgiving. It's the best ever. I really like it. I think it's my favorite. It's my favorite holiday. Yeah.
It alternates with Christmas, but yes.
Really?
Kind of depends. It depends on what our big plans are. Some Thanksgivings are a lot more low key, and I really like Thanksgiving. And I wish we had like more solid traditions around Thanksgiving than we do around Christmas.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of funny, but I like Thanksgiving because I do Friendsgiving a lot.
Right. And those are so fun.
Yeah. Or just seeing a lot of extended family and hanging out with them. And that's fun too.
Yeah. And I feel like there's the thing that wins Thanksgiving for me is that there's no pressure for the presents.
Yeah.
There's
there's no perfection pressure except for the food. Which is a lot of pressure sometimes.
It can be totally a lot of pressure, but we just roll with the punches, and it's good fun. I wanted just to say thanks to you listeners. You guys are great. You always jump in when we need you, when we ask for questions and sending us emails. So thanks. We love you guys so much.
We're grateful for you this year.
Yeah. And if you're not in the United States and don't celebrate Thanksgiving,
have some poutine.
Yeah.
You'll love it.
Or if you're in a different country altogether, we're thankful for you anyway. So there.
And still make yourself some poutine.
Yeah. Yes. Always the poutine. # always poutine.
Thanks for joining us today for our show. You can find us at hungrysquared.com, on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play Music, and Spotify.
Hey, you guys, we are on Instagram and Facebook at Hungry Squared Podcast. We love you guys. We thank you guys for joining us every single week. And we will see you next week for our next episode of Food Nerdery.
Okay, love you. Bye.
Bye.
Hungry Squared, yeah, Hungry Squared.